that's where we finished last week. The summary this week is basically the movement of the hands around and away to checkpoint 2, and then the body following over to checkpoint 3. Okay, you'll notice that I'm actually not getting to checkpoint 3 at all because my hamstrings are too short. But let's focus on checkpoint 2 first of all. Finish the stroke. Try and think of the finish as a redirecting of the blade. That's besides getting the spoon out of the water and going down, okay, one needs to think of the finish as a redirection of the handle. So instead of the handle coming in, stopping, and then moving out, you think of holding it and redirecting it back around to checkpoint 2. Okay, like we've said, checkpoint 2, in the notes rather, checkpoint 2 is basically the extension of the arms while holding your strong finish position. So round, relaxed hands, straighten your elbows, make sure that you're not lifting your shoulders. Okay, I did put in the notes there that you should always be conscious of where your elbows are pointing. They should be pointing slightly downwards. As soon as you bring your elbows up, your shoulders will come up as well. So maybe more relevant in a sculling boat, and particularly at the front of the stroke and the catch, to make sure that you're not rounding and bringing your shoulders up into this position. So faults to look for is athletes doing this. Okay, one needs to hold position and move the hands out. And generally the handle will move out as fast as it came in. So it's a really smooth, flowing redirection of the handle. Okay. Right, then moving on to checkpoint 3. Like I said, I'm actually not able to reach checkpoint 3, but what you should have is the same tall posture that you've held there, and then moving yourself over. I'm going to cheat by bending my knees, but basically you need to get yourself into a position where your body comes forward into the correct position before you get onto the slide. Okay? This means that athletes need to have sufficient flexibility in their hamstrings, in their glutes, and they obviously need to be able to hold themselves up in position. I've put a picture of an athlete in the right position, because obviously I'm not the greatest model, and I'm sure we will get some nice clips from Roger and his team of the national squad working on these elements. Why do we need to reach checkpoint 3? The reason for that is, firstly, you want your handle to be able to pass your knees. You don't want to be in a position where your knees are breaking and your handle is not past your knees. Secondly, you need your weight to transfer from the back of your seat, then to the front of your seat, and then be spread onto your feet. So when you break your knees onto the recovery, you should feel weight here and here. Your weight now has been transferred into the middle of the boat. It is shared equally between your feet and your bum. And then when you do break your legs and move on to the recovery, which is obviously what we'll talk about next, there is nothing left to do besides lift your hands to bury the blade, because your body is in position and it's ready. Okay, if you do not reach checkpoint 3, what ends up happening is that your body will basically swing all the way forward, okay, and that causes a lot of other problems. So without overcomplicating this, we are talking about hands, body. Obviously the next word is slides, but you guys have heard it, you teach it, but you need to make sure that athletes really understand that sequence. Another fault which is common is a mix-up of hands and body. Obviously in practice this is a flowing movement. It's not rigid, it's not arms in, arms out, hips over, go. Okay, yes, that is the sequence, but it has to happen in a flowing way. So it's hands, hold position, pulls your hips over, body, and then we can talk about the rest next week. Hopefully that's informative. It is a crucial part of the stroke, and I'd say a lot of very successful coaches have focused very much on the finish and that part of preparation, because it is so key to allowing you a good position to drive the boat as well as minimizing the force, the negative forces in the recovery. Cool, thank you, enjoy your weekend.